family, what's up? Welcome back to my dark living room. Good to see ya. It's the same day as my last video, but I put my hair up because it was a mess. Wait a second, who am I kidding? I'm sure somebody in the comments told me. Anyway, it's the same day, making another video. Kind of have this day off just to do some stuff around the house. I'll admit I have a really weird schedule. I work night shifts a lot and my schedule gets all kinds of crazy. Anyway, today I wanted to talk about some practical advice if you're kind of thinking about the whole flower farmer thing and you're thinking about diving in, growing some cut flowers. Now, I may not have the most experience growing cut flowers, but I do have a lot of experience being a beginner flower grower. So here are my kind of tips and my kind of just 2 cents about it. Of course, you don't have to agree. Different strokes for different folks. We're all different. So this is what would help me. This is what would have helped me. First and foremost, my #1 thing would just to be stay simple. Just going over the top with elaborate designs and elaborate layouts, like tons of different types of flowers. That's what I did. I think I would have scaled back a little bit and just tried something simple. I stuck to the basic flowers, things that I knew here were easy to grow, things like zinnias and sunflowers. And sure, they kind of, I've noticed, have that kind of like, oh, those are so easy vibe attached to them, which I think is total like trash, because I love zinnia and sunflowers. They're beautiful and they're easy, right? I mean, who doesn't love good looking and easy? That's not what I meant, but you know what I mean. First time you grow any kind of flower, I always kind of expect to have just an enormous margin of error. Anything can go wrong, be it, you don't have the right weather, which happens to me a lot, because as much as I research and I think I know what I'm doing, I don't know what I'm doing. And I still don't know what I'm doing for the most part. So I mean, something even as simple as the weather can just totally throw you off. And I think the first time you initially grow something, it's best not to dive in. Like if you're growing ranunculus for the first time, I would not order 3,000 ranunculus. The first time I grew ranunculus, I grew 25 ranunculus corms, and they did great. I was so excited. And then the next year, I grew 500 of them. I mean, be careful. It's a very slippery slope. You grow something once, and then phew, you're growing a lot of it. But that's besides the point. The fact is, I mean, I would just personally rather be unsuccessful with a small batch of something rather than just totally fail with a large batch of something. I hope that makes sense. Again, it's up to you. You're a risk taker, roll dice, that kind of thing. More power to you, and I hope it goes well, seriously. Really, the other main piece of advice would be, I mean, this video really isn't going to be that long, but really the main piece of advice I would give is to just plan ahead. And that's coming from someone who is the absolute queen of, well, let's just see what happens. It'll be fine. What's the worst that could happen? It'll be fine. Why are you so worried? That's me. I don't plan things. And in growing a cut flower garden, you definitely probably should plan. Definitely probably should. Anyway, you should plan just a little bit. Plan for things like, weed barrier, keeping the garden weed free, especially if you plan on growing at a large scale to produce cut flowers and actually try to, make a profit. There are steps you need to take to prevent things that are going to be time consuming. For example, pulling weeds is a very time consuming activity, and it's not really that fun. So if you're somebody like me who doesn't even do it because you hate it, you need to go ahead and prepare for that before the season even starts, and just understand, yes, there will be weeds. Other thing, I don't know, really thinking about, your weather. Are you going to need trellis netting to support the stems so they don't all blow over? That's a big one. Here where I live, we get thunderstorms, and nearly every season my zinnias have just been totally flattened to the ground. That's not good. I mean, even though zinnias are pretty robust, I still need to trellis them to make sure they're staying straight up in the air. If you live somewhere that doesn't get much rain, you have to think about drip irrigation before that happens. I mean, knock on wood, I'm lucky we get a lot of rain here and I don't use any irrigation, knock on wood. But I could see that's definitely something that maybe I would need in the future. Before you even start, I think it's best to, just think out out everything that could possibly go wrong first. I know that sounds really negative, but it's true. Last but certainly not least, I just wanted to say, just don't be distracted by the glossy pictures. This is one that is so hard for me. I'm sure I'm very competitive, like too competitive. You know, if I'm doing something, I want to be the best at something. It's not a healthy mind. It's not a healthy state of mind. It's something I have to actively work on and control, but I mean, it's true. And especially with, you know, social media, Instagram, all that stuff, it is so easy to look at these like glossy, manicured, just false realities. This isn't reality. I know it sounds dumb to have, like, you know, actually have to say out loud, but I think in a lot of ways social media is so unhealthy. If it wasn't for, you know, the whole garden thing, I wouldn't be on social media at all, if I'm just being totally honest, because I know that it's personally not healthy for me, and I know a lot of people do feel the same way. It's so important not to compare yourself, because all you're going to do is just discourage yourself. And while I want to say, oh, follow other people, get inspiration, that kind of thing, that's what you want to do, I think that's great. For me personally, I mean, I've really made the effort to try to stay off social media, even though I'm still on it all the time. But just don't compare yourself, because it's gonna take away that sense of pride and, you know, like, oh, I'm doing this right, this feels good. It can do that. It can take that away. I think that's one of the biggest traps to fall in, is that, oh, look what this person's doing, and, you know, look what I'm doing over here, big deal. You know what, this person's at a different place than you, and you're just starting, or you'll get there one day, or you're happy doing what you do, and there's no shame in that. I know I'm just rambling, but it's really how I feel. Same note, you know, it's your first time growing flowers. Don't get sucked into that trap of, I have to have the best. I have to have this name brand. I have to have this, okay? I mean, I think it's great. I think if you want to spoil yourself and, you know, get a couple high price tag items, that's great. For the most part, I definitely recommend just keeping it cheap. Your first year growing, just keep it as cheap as possible. Make sure to shop around and check all kinds of different websites. You can find a lot of really great deals. I just feel like there's no sense, you know, spending the money on these gigantic price tags if you're just starting out for, you know, special blah 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 or certain blah blah blah. Especially if it's something that's difficult to grow, that's proven to be difficult to grow. You've seen other people have trouble with it, because chances are, as your first time, you might have a little bit of trouble with it too. But of course, everybody's different. I'm speaking generally. Actually, I'm just speaking for myself, being honest, because I'm cheap. I'm worried about failure, that kind of thing. So, you know, do your own thing. I mean, again, this is just my opinion. So, you know, do your own thing, follow your own arrow. If you want something nice, go for it. You think I'm just rambling? I don't know. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm not quite sure if you did. If you did, be sure to subscribe. I would love to have you make new videos on the regular. I'm back. My camera shut off. It always shuts off without any warning. It's so great. I love it. Anyway, hopefully this video was somehow helpful. I'm not quite sure if it was. If it was, be sure to subscribe. I would love to have you making new videos on the regular. Tell your friends about it, something like that. Trying to get to 10,000 subs by the end of this year would be great. If you have any ideas for videos in the future, leave them down in the comments. Do the best I can. I hope y'all are having a real great day, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye, guys.